And welcome back to JKLive here at Susan Television at a point of reflection. That's what we're doing today with those who were there at the point of the second liberation. Remember that? Maybe you don't, but I tell you, we didn't have any social media then. Imagine what it was like. We had one TV station, one radio station. Our choice was either VOK or VOK. Imagine that for a moment. 30 plus years later, here we are. We've come a long way. And folks, social media has been maybe a blessing and a curse, but when it comes to these riots and demonstrations, it's been a blessing. Mombi, what do you say?
Oh, a big blessing. And this is one of the advantages that the Gen Zs of this time are using effectively. He mentioned about during his time, people were being dropped from 25th floor. Nyayo House. It's suicide, and that's the end of the story. During the first Kenyatta, we heard about JM karaoke, and there was a watch in the toilet somewhere. And, you know, those stories were there. And others. Then during Moi's time, we had the Uko story. And what was said was the truth, was the gospel truth. They set up commissions, and when they decided that they are going to disband the commission by 1 o'clock news, it happened. Even during the famous Kibaki regime, there were those gangs. I remember there was a time you had the 7 M's, something like 7 M's or M7 or whatever they were being called, because they were the engine that would cushion Kibaki against the evils that they were perpetuating. During the second Kenyatta, we heard of the Yala river in Nyando, with bodies being thrown into the river. We had all those things. And even now, we have those gangs. Fortunately for this time around, we have in government people who really yearn for the powers that Moi had during KANU days. And here is a new constitution, 2010, and the social media, and the new generation of activism. And they're being caught like the owners of the cartels are being caught, like the way you get everybody into a net and you hold them together. Yeah. And I think, though we also need to teach our children on a better way of using social media, they have used it very well, extremely well, to expose the ignorance of the so people called leaders. Now we have known that they know very little. Yes, we have known.
Kipruto, your thoughts?
My thoughts are very clear that institutions of democracy cannot be grafted around individuals. Individuals are fleeting. They are here today, they are not here tomorrow. And the challenge that we have in Africa is that all democratic institutions are grafted either around individual or a collection of communities where they say we are coming into this coalition by associating a number of tribes against another set of tribes. My take is institutions of democracy must be independent, and they must also allow us to judge individuals on the basis of their character, not on the basis of their heritage. such that at the end of the day, if I made a mistake, I should not be seen either as a Kalenjin or as a Kikuyu or as a Luo. I should be seen as an individual who has committed a crime that is punishable by law, not punishable by the thinking of those in power. Because those in power are fickle, they are insecure, and they spend a lot of time protecting themselves from real or imagined crimes that they have committed. My take is simple. Let us be dispassionate. Let the law measure each individual blindfolded, so that if I make a mistake, I should be judged by the mistakes I've made, regardless of the background or the place I come from. Such that we do not need all these gangs, whether it's Kenyatta 1, Kenyatta 2, whether it's Kibaki, Ruto, or Moi. We must think of this country as a country that belongs to all of us. And the only way we can resolve the problem is to say, if I made a mistake, whether I'm an ally of the state or those in power, or whether I'm in the opposition, I should be judged by the crime that I've committed, not by the fact that I'm associated with certain individuals. That is where we go wrong, and that is the poverty of democracy in Africa.
Absolutely. Jerry Kathangu, before you answer, Captain Sankale Oletipis has sent me a message saying, kindly give my heartfelt greetings to Mheshimiwa Njeru Kathangu.
Fantastic. I want to say hello, Brother Sankare. I remember the great salute that you always gave, and you're a beautiful soldier. Oh. Thank you, sir. I want to say this. Yes. Social media is a tool of communication in this generation. We had other tools of communication before then. The horn was part of it. Oh, kupiga mayoe, it was part of it. And one of the things that is great human is that talking to a friend about situations and circumstances in a country like ours is great. And therefore what I want to say is this: even if Gen Zs continue to use the social media for mobilization and communication, to remember that they are not alone in this society. We have got various stages of our life, and we have got various categories of our groupings. For example, every community in this country has an elders council. That elders council, where the Gen Zs cannot get to dialogue physically with some people, elders or leaders, that council should be able to demystify the leaders, because they, the elders, can be able to move to whatever level to see whoever it is to tell them about what the problem is. But unfortunately, both the leaders and the young people have decided to work alone without the elders. Yet the elders know from where they have come. They know what problem is in this country and the reasons why the leaders are there are not others. That's number one. Then number two is that the leaders should never be threatened. We must always remember that we are here for a short time. In fact, if you want to live there forever, you can actually remember how many people have been kicked out of those offices. Kenya is civil. Kenya is humble. And Kenya has decided over all the time that Kenya was created that we are not going to move people out of the offices by force. And so they must never use force against the Kenyans to be in power.
Okay, still on social media, sometimes it's a little extreme.
Yes.
Like putting people in coffins. You know, things like that. Isn't that a little extreme?
Coffins that to depict so-and-so as dead?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if you mistreat people so much, people start praying that you go. You know, and that is what I'm saying, that we must never push our people, including the young people who don't actually think so much about death. You know, because they are there. They are just come into life. But if you push them so much, they start thinking about how can this fellow go? You know, but because they don't have a way of making you go,
yes.
they have you lay on a coffin. Remember, you are still alive. Don't hate the coffin.
Yeah.
They are being sold all over the place. So if people put me in the coffin, I am not dead. They are only telling me, please think about us who are alive, because your end will still be in this coffin. You know, that is a reminder. Jeff, what I'm saying is this. Young people are innovative. Young people are creative. Young people provoke. They are thinkers, and they cause change. You know, because of that, every leader, president and his cabinet, should be able to appreciate that it is the young people whose authority supported him. They fought to have him, and he cannot ignore that, because everywhere the young people in 2022, that is when we had the elections.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everywhere the young people were saying, Ruto ndio wetu, Ruto ndio wetu, kiboko yao. Now listen, now kiboko yao has turned to be kiboko ya kuchapa hawa. You know, I'm saying this, that same generation can turn and say, look, if Ruto you come and say pole kwetu, and maybe the church also, because it is both the church and Ruto who confuse the people. The church came saying, huyu ndio mtu wa Mungu. Hata sisi ni watu wa Mungu, you know. And I think we are watu wa Mungu more than others. But what I am saying is this, watu wa Mungu walikosea watu wa Mungu, na kwa hivyo watu wa Mungu pamoja na Ruto tafadhali wakumbuke, sisi watu wa Mungu tunangoja waseme pole, and we are sorry about what they have been doing to us. You know, we have witnessed Koinange young people go. Yeah. And then I remember, and I was saying before, in the Julius Caesar book, that is a literature book, you know, in one of the scenes, I can't remember which scene now, but it's a play, right? Written in 1599, you know, about Caesar, whose assassination was thought of in 44 AD. And they were simply saying this, that cowards die many times before they are actually dead. And why is this? First, because a coward beats people to kill because he doesn't want to ever come back to this fight. He knows he may lose. Secondly, that he fights so hard as he escapes because, you see, he doesn't want to be caught up by this character. He thinks that he's going to finish him. What I'm trying to say is this. Democratically, Kenya has been given 5 years, and 5 years can be extended for the presidential term.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
If one is going to be in that office in a cowardly manner, you may hurt a lot of people.
Absolutely.
You know? And because you have been given that time, please be civil. Love your people, serve them, and bring them something that can assist for the next 100 and 200 years, instead of accumulation of things that are going to be left after we are gone, to be eaten by ants, safari ants, and maybe the birds of the air.
And termites.
Thank you, sir.
Could we be very sensitive to about being put in a coffin? I was your fan when you had XYZ. Jeff Koinange.
Kef.
Yes. You brought out Kibaki there. Were you ever picked?
No.
We had other young people like Akina KJ.
Yes.
Nyambane, and yeah.
Ridiculous.
Ridiculous. Doing those skits in front of the president himself. And there was laughter. Are we being too sensitive? We've banned, they called these refugees. And they are dressed like you. You look at it, and it is Jeff Koinange.
Yeah.
And people are not sensitive. When you are banned, you die. I think we are being extremely sensitive to such innovations of young people. And from where I sit, I don't think it's a matter of meeting that with live bullets, from where I sit.
Oh, well put, well put.
If she has finished saying that, I also wanted to add something small.
Hold on, let me go to Kipruto real quick because Senator Gloria Oroba, yeah, she sent him a saying, great show. Says, please send me Mheshimiwa Kipruto's number. He was one of the few who really helped me back then.
Yeah, we were in the same party with her. And I was the deputy party, I was the deputy chair.
Right.
And Orioba became a nominated senator. Before I left the party, we had already done the list. She doesn't need to be sent the number. I'll be able to call her tomorrow. And we touch base.
Done. Done. Jerukatangu.
Yes.
Go on.
You know what I'm thinking about, Jeff, is this, that during our few years of Kenyatta 1, and it's an advice I'm giving Ruto, my younger brother, and I've been with him in various places. You look a very smart young man, which he may mess, in old age, and I don't want him to mess, Jomo Kenyatta, the first, would hear quarrels, would witness them between people. What presidents and kings must remember is that there is no citizen competing with them. Citizens are their subjects, When he says pay tax, we pay tax, So he does not have to compete with us. And that time, I remember those people who quarreled so much, including me, If I am not able to get to the president for any reason, the minister calls me and says, look, do you know what? The president does not want this thing to continue. And you are a young boy.
Right.
No, not just a young man, a young boy. Why are you provoking a grandfather? And we would discuss. And after that discussion, I would say, I'm sorry. And I go. And I'm free.
Yep.
Now, so what I'm saying is this. Ruto is a young man. Instead of just going around the counties doing those things I see, there are those people that are so dissatisfied in the county, and they have got wisdom and knowledge that they can share with him to say, this county, not what you politicians are saying, is what we elders are thinking, is that it should change here and there and there and there. It should have such discussions. But when you go to streets on top of cars, those old men will just sit under trees and just watch him, and he goes. And the young men are saying, aende, aende. Who wants to hear that? Not about the president. In fact, he should tone down some of the things, including using the rooftop of that car. Kaa chini, wazee waje kwako, mzungumze. Sababu hata wewe umekuwa mzee, na wazee waongei huko, and there is no competition between you and your minister, or between you and another businessman, or between you and Jero Kathango. You are the president of the republic. I can only come to you to tell you what I think about what I see, and take it as a friend or as citizens or as subjects and fight.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very well put. We have lots of reactions. I think Ayub is going to go to the magic wall. Yeah, he's already here. And
yes, some pulled the following, starting off. Abel is pulling those, the feedback up.
Go on.
Duncan Waliwala says, where a hyena is the prosecutor, the wolf is the witness, the jackal is the lawyer, and the leopard is the judge, where can a goat find justice? Our 2010 constitution is wounded. Nyantika Chester says, the world would be a very dull and boring place to be if we all agree virtually on everything. And as such, it's very barbaric to unleash terror on those we don't agree with on a myriad of issues. Even if in marriages or relationship, it's not always, yes, babe. Yes, babe. Limo Kipto 27 says, the irony in Kenya is loud. Protesting police brutality only meets more brutality. A government meant to protect now punishes. When will this madness end? _ Sontedi says, With what we are going through as a country now, this conversation is timely and necessary. These individuals are a living archive of our nation's political journey. Their insights can help us reflect on how far we have come and possibly where we are headed to. Orutwa Sam says, imagine during the time prior to second liberation, it was mandatory for every Kenyan to have a KANU membership card with monthly a fixed stamp of Kenya shillings 10 to be presented to all public office, or after school, college, for government job interview must have. Mute Philip says, ask Njeru what is his take on 2027 election if the so-called opposition leaders are prepared enough. Are they?
Well, is that a question I should answer now?
Yes.
Okay. That the thing is this. It is wrong to always think about the election after the other. For example, we had the election in 2022. From then on, to this day, we have been non-stop on political campaign for 2027. We become a very retrogressing society, thinking about the election of 2027. That's number one. Number two is this. When people talk to me, they ask me, if it is not Ruto, then in Inani. No, that is not the question. The question that should be this. Are we going to have other leaders emerging after this? You know, and the question should be answered, and it is correct to say that leaders emerge every 24 hours. It is actually wrong to assume there will be no leader because he is not there now, or she is not there now. In the next 1 or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, you may have an emerging leader that is going to be unstoppable in this country.
Okay.
Yeah. Next is from Rafael_Kidaha. He says, former Minister Kipruto, allegations of police collaborating with goons armed with whips and clubs have raised concerns about state tactics. How should the government balance security measures with protecting the right to peaceful protest?
Well, it's very simple. When we went to Haiti, we wanted to bring sanity, but we seem to be learning bad manners from Haiti, where goons have taken over the streets. And we saw it in Nairobi yesterday, and we are witnessing it more and more every day. And I think taking our 1,000 policemen to Haiti was just to go and benchmark on the basis of how to transform police into thuggery and create a situation that is a state of anarchy. I thought the president was solving a problem, but I realized he wanted to learn more about how to create anarchy in town.
Next is from Sanixon Degure. Says, gentlemen and a lady, during your time it was impossible to impeach the president. In your opinion, is it still so today? Well, brings in the question of parliament. Yes.
Mombi.
That power is vested in parliament. Can they?
They are in his pocket. They are in his pocket. Do we need another answer? That's enough.
Well put.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, Njero?
Yeah, you see, the first project that the president did was to make sure that all, like Mombi is saying, were in his pocket. If they were independently working as political parties in parliament, that would be possible to impeach.
Okay. Okelo Mwalimu says, the outer shell of my submerged mind feels that the ongoing wave of police brutality can be cured by raising salaries of officers. An underpaid officer is susceptible to misuse by his or her seniors who only need to give stipends in order to implement illegal orders. Lishe 96 says, great insights. Even Idi Amin killed people thinking he was special. In the end, it caught up with him. Gen Z will jail a whole lot of the current actors. Time deals with everything and everyone, Jeff.
Yeah.
For Abdul_Hussein says, the youth's resilience shines through, demanding accountability amid rising tensions. Let's honor their call for inclusive governance. Our nation's future hinges on listening, not silencing. Time to bridge the gap between power and the people. Sheila, Sweden, says absolutely blown away by how radiant and graceful Mumengaru remains despite the political storms she has weathered. A true symbol of resilience and grace. She's my role model. May her journey keep lighting the path for change in our nation.
Very good.
Say thank you.
Mark underscore Makuda says, Jeff, kindly ask your panelists, where did the rain start beating us in this regime? What could be done to make Kenya a prosperous nation? Kenya is always termed a mature democracy. Are we really there if top government officials can't take responsibility?
Well, the answer lies with us building institutions instead of grafting our issues around individuals. Institutions will last. Individuals are fleeting. And when they leave the scene, they create a destruction of institutions.
Yeah.
Next up is from Gogero, I think. What's this notion of stepping down or stepping aside? Is it recognized by law, or for how long can one step down, aside, and still be on the payroll with full rights and privileges? This is the case of the Deputy Inspector General of Police.
Yeah, because you see, one of the things that we are really missing in this country is a disciplined man in a disciplined ministry or service must never be let to play around with activities like I'll step down, I'll come back. It is supposed to be given by his bosses. But because we have got some kind of disease in this country, we appoint people to act in preparation of or to be in office so that they can take over from. That is the problem. That is stepping down for investigation is an instruction of the appointing person to hold on a bit so that we can clear the way for you. Yeah, and we must stop it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Kei Gashima says, Honorable Njero Kathangu is our hero in Embu. We thank him for the Kiama Kiamwembu. Jeff Mwambie amesalimiwa na MC overseer wa Maviriri.
Mimi nasema asante sana. Kiama Mwembu is one of the councils in this country, and I'm saying that through that you can be able to tame the wild in Embu County.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mboya underscore Arnold says, history reminds us where we came from, but who reminds us where we are going? When justice dies and the protectors are hunted, it's not just a system failing, it's a nation bleeding. Underscore Senior K says, the shackles of bad governance right from the top have restrained this country's economy below the poverty index. Weak institutions, including ineffective judicial systems, have hindered the enforcement of laws, creating vulnerabilities and exacerbate existing problems. K. Jeremiah N. says, great reflections from these senior patriots and citizens, principled and fighting for the betterment of the nation, sacrificing their lives. This crop seems to have disappeared from our political leadership. Jack Kipto says, the sober minds then and now, thank you, heroes. Elijah underscore Ogaya says, the guests have done an admirable job of contextualizing the struggles / police brutality faced by young Kenyans today. And Christo says, listening to the two SARS and the mom in the house, it only shows history repeats itself, especially if the mindset is the same and things are done the same way.
All right, that's great reaction there, and I know there's plenty more, so we really appreciate your feedback, because we've got to know where we came from before we know where we're going. And before we leave you tonight, let's get some closing thoughts going forward. We all want to know, Mumengaru, going forward, what do we do? Where do we go? What do you see?
I am a very hopeful person, and I still dream of a country called Kenya, where my children and grandchildren will not have to go through what I have gone through. They don't have to know so-and-so to fit and get service from the various institutions of this country. But we have to call a spade a spade. We complain, and this is historical. We complain after we have already done the mess ourselves. Then after that, we start finger pointing, asking maybe we should have listened, maybe we should have done ABCD. But Jeff, we all know. We all know what we voted for. There's nothing new that they are doing that they hadn't done. Nothing, including the lift against communities, regionalism, against people who have criminal records in courts, even after before they were elected. So shouldn't we have a meeting with ourselves first? Let me pick an area where I come from. You can see the wave of trying to make everybody angry, very mad about issues. That the psyche of the region I come from is that it's done, we don't want to hear anything about it, it's done. But as we dance to the music of that it's done, I watch TV and I see other regions are still going on, doing good things for their people. And it worries me. It worries me that wazays, they are there. I see this one is of a special breed. I know of others who are controlled. That whenever they get an invitation from the powers that be, the first question, even for church leaders, bishops and others, is what are we getting from that visit? Yeah. You know, we have to talk about such issues. And until we come to our senses, that when I go for those meetings, I don't need anybody to fuel my car. I don't need lunch from anybody. I just want to speak as it is. And I'm not going to be anybody's parrot. Yes, because caucuses are called before the groups visit to have a tune. There's a choir master who gives the rhythm. So you become a parrot, that you'll go there and sing the same song. And if they detect something that they didn't agree, you will not be called in the next meeting. Yeah. So we are the problem. We are the problem.
And we are our own worst enemy.
We are our own enemies. Yeah. So I am worried as a parent, and I actually say, I want to apologize to our children, especially my generation, because we are the transitional generation that enjoyed the fruits of working systems during the first Kenyatta and a bit of Moi, and also suffered disorganization during Moi time. Yeah. I was a second-year university student in 1982 during the coup. Asked me from then on what I've gone through, just because of having a Kikuyu name. So this madness that leaders must be like how they are described, I get cold, even as a woman leader, that if I want to succeed the way these two guys have succeeded, I must grab and steal from the institutions where I'm posted, so that I have money to go buy them and buy alcohol for them. So are we going to sit as a country to say we raise up our hands and call it by name.
Yeah.
And call out the names, because it's important that we call out the names. Then we say, enough, where do we go? And how do we go from here?
Jeru Kathangu.
Now, in every political arrangement, we have got two struggles. First is that every time that the wananchi are aggrieved, they start struggling to get out of their grievances. And those in power start struggling to sustain it, which means that many of our people in leadership do not actually want to move out. In fact, they think the people love them so much. Of course, some of them. You know, I remember Ronald Reagan saying, you know, I am qualified for the third term, but because of the Constitution. You know, Obama has been saying the same, or people are saying the same about Obama. And you know, a man called Idi Amin, are you going to say, all of them love me, you know?
Yep.
Ceausescu said the same, you know, and everybody here thinks that he is loved because people elected them.
So does...
What I'm saying is this, that there is a point of a time that people come to a point and say, enough is enough. And I don't want our government to get there. I would like them to appease the people and tone down what they are doing now, because they are full of austerities and they actually appear to hate the people through taxes, through some of these things they are doing, security-wise, you know, because Kenyans are not secure. In fact, let me tell you, everybody going to sleep now does not know who is going to strike. The uniforms, the police uniforms are being sold on the streets, you know, so anybody can buy it. The uniform, which is called fatigue by the military, the ones that is checked, you know, is being sold everywhere. You know, Gikomba, Toy Market, every place you can buy. So if these people bought their uniforms and went out terrorizing the people, that's why you hear mothers crying everywhere that the police ndio walikuja. Maybe sio police, but then the Kenyan government has become so lax as to allow that the military fatigue is sold on the street, the police uniform is sold on the street. So every child today thinks that it is the government that's sending the police to terrorize them. And therefore, what I'm saying is this. Please don't assume love anymore, because sometimes it comes to an end, you know, and start mending your ways so that the people may be able to state themselves and be able to maybe build more confidence and trust in the government. Otherwise, it is lost. Yes.
Otherwise, it is lost.
It is.
Kipruto Arap Kira, you get the final word.
Well, my request is that let us build institutions, but not to craft our future around individuals. Individuals are fleeting, institutions last. And therefore, if we believe in institutions, they'll be there today, tomorrow, and the day after.
That's the bottom line. Thank you so much. Mombi Ngaru, thank you so much. Kipruto Arap Kira. Jeru Kathangu.
Thank you, sir.
We appreciate it, and thank you for what you did, and thank you for your service to the nation.
Thank you.
And I hope you guys are listening, folks, because we have to know where we came from before we know where we're heading. We're a week away from what will be the first anniversary of the Gen Z demonstrations. Think about what you're going to be doing next week this time. I hope we still have a country. Hope that's our biggest hope, and hope we'll still be together. Well, that's all I keep saying. If it's Wednesday, those three letters on the keyboard that follow each other. JKL. Thank you. Good luck. Goodbye. God bless Kenya. Right, Ayub?
You said it all.
Okay.
We are a week away from the first anniversary.
Yeah.
Of course, it's Wednesday, and we'll be having the special coverage here on JKL.
Absolutely. Good night, everybody.